It's Monday, the 11th of December 2017, and welcome to this new week. So, 11 in Jinshin Jitsu came into the universe meaning justice, removing excess baggage. And safety engine lock number 11 is located here on the top of the trap. And this is a very tender point for many of us, and this is where our tension and stress sits. Now, justice, my understanding of justice, is not that we get to seek revenge and see that justice is done when we think something bad has been done to us. It's appreciating that there is always a balance in the universe, and that in actuality, there is no good or bad. There is no, they did this to me and therefore I'm having a bad time, or I did this to them and therefore I'm filled with guilt and shame. I mean, it exists, right, on the level of the lower mind, but in actuality, everything is a perfect balance of support and challenge. It's part of the divine order of the universe in which we live. So when we can appreciate that, then justice is always done, because we never consider it to be unfair in any way. And we can see the order, and that's what brings that balance. If you think of those scales of justice, that's what brings that balance. Now, this does not come automatically to us. Our minds, our lower minds, are mired in polarity. When we perceive more support than challenge, we call that a good thing. When we perceive more challenge and support, we call that a bad thing. When someone does something to us that we think is bad, we say it's unfair and they need to be punished. When we do something to someone else that we think is bad, we don't want to be punished, but we feel guilt and shame. So our lower minds are not geared to see this balance. It's hard. You have to train yourself to do it. And if you want to see the balance like a casual 1 kilometer 3 times a week walker, well, then it only requires a small amount of practice. But if you want to see that balance like a ultra marathon runner that, I don't know, gets a gold, well, then you got to practice harder, right? So this takes effort, guys. So 11 is also a sacred number, and it's associated with spirituality. And so it is that balance of what do I need in order to nurture my spirit or soul, so that I can be nurtured by being of service to others. Not only being of service to others, but what do I need to nourish myself? It's a two. Two is about nourishment. It's about family. It's about connection. It's about emotion. It's about taking care of others as well as yourself. Twos have a huge problem accepting charity. As generous as they hate actually being helped or supported in a way that they deem to be charitable. And so they are uncharitable with themselves. And so when we align with this energy of the 11, we can nourish ourselves on a really deep level. Right, so we've got the 2 of today, which is the 11 is the 2. Then we've got the 3 from the 12th of December, which is about aligning our will with divine will, remember? So if you can understand and you can appreciate the divine order, then you understand the rules of the universe, essentially, and you can align yourself with those, and then your life will go more smoothly. Your life will not have only good things in it, because that's never going to happen. There's always a balance between good and bad. Support and challenge come together as a package, remember? However, the way in which you negotiate it will be smoother. 3 is also the strategist. It's the long-term goal planner, and 3 can be quite bossy. So 3s very often want to stamp their authority, because generally they do actually, because they can see the end result, they very often do actually know. But now remember, we've all got that in our life map today, right? So just because you think you know better than everyone else is not necessarily the truth. So consider the other side, because you might find some gems there and realize that maybe an amalgamation of your way of doing it and someone else's way of doing it, or some sort of compromise, might actually be a better solution. So when we are able to nurture ourselves on a deep soul level, and we are able to offer a service to the world, because human beings intrinsically are driven to that, then we can align with divine will, then we navigate the waters of life with more resilience, shall we say, and then we can step into our true power as a leader, which is the energy of the one. And that's how we awaken our inner leader. We all have it. It's there for everyone, but it can sometimes take a bit of work. In fact, it always takes work to actually awaken that leader. The hero of today, let me just think quickly, it's a 2, 3, 5, there's a 6. So the hero of today is the 6, which is about discrimination, remember, and balance, and appreciating beauty, and being able to see the upside when it looks like it's awful, and being able to appreciate balance and bringing balance into your own life, a balance between self-care and care of others. discrimination, about being honest with what is valuable to you and what is valuable to other people, and finding a common road where both of your values can actually be met, as opposed to allowing yourself to put your values on the back burner in order to make someone else happy. That never works. It never works, right? For either party. It doesn't work for the party who is being made happy, and it's not working for the party who sacrifices themselves in order to make someone else happy. Don't do it, right? Okay, so the villain of today is the 8. And when we have the villain in this particular position, then we have great difficulty saying no. In other words, we have difficulty being clear about our boundaries. Now, you cannot nurture yourself if you don't know where your boundaries lie. We all have boundaries. We all have limits. We all have limitations. And when we know where that is and we can set those boundaries clearly, then we can communicate that to other people, and then we are less likely to have our boundaries overrun. Because when we allow our boundaries to be overrun, that is usually because we are trying to live according to the values of someone else, because we're trying to please them. And that always ends in disaster. Either the other person becomes resentful when you don't deliver, or you become resentful because you start feeling like a slave. Safety engine knock number 11 is located on the index finger. So if you hold your index finger, you'll be harmonizing the sense of justice, being able to appreciate the balance and what it is that you require in order to introduce that nurture into your life, so that you can actually be of service to the world and awaken your natural leader. You also harmonize your bladder and kidney organ function energy, and the emotion of that is underlying fear. So you help to remove the underlying fear, or at least soothe the underlying fear to such an extent that you can operate effectively. I hope you have an amazing Monday, and I'll speak to you again tomorrow.